I didn't know who was pushing live today. Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a fantastic afternoon. I'm so glad that we are going to be spending the next hour or so together talking about real estate. There's been a lot of things that have happened in the news, and we do have a special guest. We're going to be talking about mortgage rates. We're going to be talking about home prices. We're going to talk about last year at this time, what everybody was predicting, and how that kind of didn't really turn out or pan out the way we originally thought. But before we get started, I want to clarify something that I posted on my community page on Thursday. So Thursday afternoon, I posted an article, or maybe it was Thursday morning, it doesn't matter, article about Dave Chappelle and the affordable housing. I posted that article because, I talk about affordable housing and helping people find more affordable homes throughout the United States. I was not expecting the backlash that I got from that specific article. Because of that, I will be postponing my video for Tuesday about the tiny container homes that is coming out. That will be coming out next week. This week is going to be about that specific article and a deeper conversation about affordable homes and affordable housing options. Because what people have a concept in their head of what affordable homes is and what people were putting in that comment section, what didn't line up with what I was saying at all. So anyways, that's besides the point. So that's some things I want to catch you up on. I do want to introduce you to our guest this week because it's a very special guest. You guys love him more than anything. Every time he's ever on the live stream, you're like, bring Jason back. And every time I have to like bribe him with candy and stuff. This time I had to like beg his wife, can he please come on the show? So without further ado, it's Jason Walter. Oh, Eddie, push the button.
Oh my God. You're making me turn all red over here. That's so funny. Thank you so much for having me on the channel, Kristina. I really appreciate it. This is going to be fun.
Yes, it is going to be fun. And I want everybody to know this is the funniest thing. Jason, if you don't know, Valentine's Day, it's here. So if you have not gotten anything for your significant other, it's the time. My husband and I never exchange gifts. And a beautiful box comes in the mail and he says, I got you a Valentine's Day gift. I'm like, we don't celebrate Valentine's Day. And he said, yes, this is special though. So my husband has sent me his love. He sent me a bobblehead of him holding a heart.
Oh my God. That is amazing. I'll have to think of that next year for my wife.
Yes. So
That's hilarious.
That's so hilarious. So everybody's a little bit nervous about home prices. They're a little bit nervous about mortgage rates. Did you know at this time last year, everybody under the sun was predicting crash? To this day, there's still people saying we're heading for a housing crash. So let's jump into the article that came out from Realtor Magazine right now. And then we're going to get deeper into the interest rates that Jason has gotten some good info on. So Eddie, if you would pull up that article here. Let's pull up the whole entire article and pull our faces off so everybody can read it a little bit better, Eddie. All right, 30-year mortgage rate surges to 3.69% this week. We have a clarification on that, but we're going to get into the article itself. It says mortgage rates continue. Whoa, hello. Mortgage rates continue to rise to the near full percentage point higher than a year ago. House hunters should be braced for themselves for rates near 4% by the end of the year or sooner. Economists say normalizing of the economy continues as mortgage rates jump higher to its highest level since the emergency of the pandemic. Freddie Mac's chief economist increases are expected to continue due to the strong labor market and high inflation, which will likely have an adverse effect on homebuyer demand. Rising rates, however, are depressing housing affordability, which I talk about all the time. Senior economist, director of forecasting for the National Association of Realtors, writes in the association's blog that the interest rate on mortgages has a direct impact on the size of the mortgage payment. Nearly 4 million households will be likely affected by raising rates in 2022. She notes that Freddie Mac reports the following national averages for mortgages this week. Ending in February 10th, is the 30-year mortgage is 3.69% with an average of a 0.8 rising from last week's 3.55 average. Last year at this time was a 30-year rate mortgages were 2.73%. 15-year fixed mortgages are 2.93% with an average of 0.8% increase from last week's 2.77 average. A year ago, 15-year rate mortgage was 2.19%. 5-year hybrid adjustable rates averages a 2.8 with an average of 0.3 increasing from last week's 2.71 a year ago. A year ago, the 5-year ARM was averaging at 2.79. Eddie, go ahead and put Mr. Walter back up in the screen really quick. If Eddie hit the button. The thing is that Jason, when I sent him this article, he's like, yeah, the thing is that that may not be correct, because he is in the know, and he found this chart, and it's really over 4%, right? So Eddie's going to pull up that. But did you know, Jason, at the beginning of this year, I had a group of real estate agents on, and they were predicting on how high interest rates would go. And most of them were saying, oh, we're not going to hit over 4%. And I said, I don't know how we can't. I said, I think that we'll be closer to 4.5, 4.6, maybe even 4.75. And everybody thought it was insane. But Jason, what does this say right here?
Yeah, so here's a website that I follow. This is the Mortgage News Daily. So the issue with Freddie Mac is they report on a weekly basis mortgage rates. But what we've been seeing right now is that mortgage rates have been spiking big time, really ever since August, but especially this year. And so right now, according to the Mortgage News Daily, and this is like national averages for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage is 4.05% as of Friday. That's what's kind of laughable when you see this article from Realtor.com saying that house hunters should brace themselves for rates near 4% before the end of the year. Well, mortgage rates are already at 4% right now. So yeah, that's what I want to point out.
Yeah. And I knew it was going to hit that. I mean, it couldn't, I was like, the party's over, we're turning the lights back on. These rates can't stay low forever. It was impossible. But the thing is that home prices are still going up. So a lot of people, in most cases, in most markets at this time, when interest rates creep up, then the supply of homes creeps up. But that hasn't been the case. As the rates have climbed up, we're still seeing a shortage of supply. For those that are predicting that there's going to be an excess amount of homes hitting the market, what are you saying? Because I heard a chief economist, I don't know if it was with Redfin or Zillow or Open Door, one of those had said that there's going to be a surge of foreclosed properties hitting the market. Would that cause a housing crash or a big supply increase where the demand would be shifted? What do you say, Jason?
So as far as like inventory in general, I would say it's can be like a little bit of a mixed bag. I mean, if you look at the number of active listings right now, so I like to look at Redfin for their data. They said they are about 438,000 houses for sale as of the end of, I think, January it was. Compared to the year before that, it was like 619,000. Before that, it was 900,000 plus. So this year we're down 30%. Last year we're down 30% compared to the year prior. So we're down about 60% in just 2 years. And so even though mortgage rates are increasing, we really have to see a big increase of inventory to cause a negative impact on home prices. And as far as like foreclosures go, I think that there's foreclosures that should have happened 2 years ago. Of course, all these moratoriums that took place and lenders weren't allowed to foreclose on properties. But the fact remains that the vast majority of people who have mortgages have positive equity in their houses. There's a very small amount of people who have negative equity in their homes. And so, I think that if we're talking about this huge spike in foreclosures, if you go from like one house to 10, that's like 10 times as many houses. So I don't really foresee we're going to have a big increase in foreclosures because home prices have increased so much lately. That's my take. What do you think, though?
Well, I agree with that, because we don't have enough supply of houses. So even if there was this big dump of foreclosure houses on the market, that would probably even out the amount of demand that is in the market currently. I will say this, though. Also, at the beginning of the year, they're saying that they would see a small increase in home prices, maybe 2-3%. Well, now that number has been crushed already into February, now they're saying it's possible another 10, 15, 16%. what do you think is going to happen with the prices of homes? Do you think it's going to increase another 16% by the end of the year?
I would be shocked if we have 15% price appreciation this year. And
Mhm.
we all know we have low supply, right? So that causes home
Mhm.
prices to increase as people, overbid on house, not overbid, but they have bidding wars on houses. But yeah, I just don't see that really happening so much. Um, I think, in my opinion, it really depends on housing inventory, how many people actually list their houses for sale. It's anyone's guess what that's going to happen, or how many people are actually going to list their houses for sale. But I mean, I have a 30-year fixed rate mortgage at 2.6%. Why would I sell my house and get a 4% mortgage rate right now? And home prices are historically very, very high. So I think there's that factor where people are looking at prices and mortgage rates saying, oh, well, I have a fixed mortgage rates of less than 3%. Why would I buy a house at 4%? So I think that could cause inventory to decrease. But I also think that if the news about mortgage rates increasing greatly, if there's like a small hint about the housing market is shifting or slowing down, I think that's going to be, the media is going to be all over that. And so I think that there
Mhm.
could be some people who may want to sell their houses, and maybe they're thinking this summer, and maybe they're thinking, gosh, I want to sell my house now and buy a new place in a more affordable area while rates are still historically very low. So I think it's kind of be a mixed bag between people looking to sell in fear that their home prices are going to be going down or mortgage rates going up, and a lot of people staying in their houses because mortgage rate they're fixed at such a low rate. So it's really hard to tell what's going to happen here. But the I guess like the big takeaway is that we have to have a big influx of housing inventory in order to cause home prices to decrease, let alone crashing. What are your thoughts?
Uh,
And
uh,
congratulations, Jennifer.
Flex, I'm in escrow. First offer accepted. Owner agrees to repairs, appraised well, 3.625, and a conventional loan. Fantastic.
That's awesome.
Uh, that is awesome. And thank you for the $5 super chat. Um,
Woohoo.
so I don't know about 16%, but not in my area. I can't see that happening.
Yeah.
But we've already crushed the 4%. Like that so I don't, maybe 7, maybe. I don't know what the increase is going to be. It's such a mixed bag of nuts of what's going on. We thought last year was crazy. I think this year is going to be crazier. Those moratoriums are not over for every lender. Some lenders are still offering them to this day. You can still sign up with them with some mortgage companies.
Are
A
you
lot
talking
of
about
homes that
forbearances, you mean?
forbearances. I'm sorry,
Oh, yeah.
forbearances. Thank you.
Yeah, you still
Forbearances.
can. You have a conventional
You can still
mortgage, you
sign
still
up
can.
for it.
Yeah.
You can still sign up for it. A lot of people that were on forbearance have already come off of forbearance. And even if, let's just say, they didn't pay for a year, some of them restructured their whole loan altogether and refinanced at that lower rate. Other people added another like 5 years to their mortgage. But in the meantime, that their house still increased in value while they
Yeah.
weren't paying for it. So I don't see people just walking away from their house right now, even if they were underwater, let's just say a year, and they didn't pay their mortgage. The increase has overtaken the amount that they haven't paid. So they would easily be able to sell their home. I don't see like short sales like they were in 2007,
Yeah.
2008, 2009. That was like our bread and butter there for a long time, is how to do a short sale. I don't see that happening not this year. I can't see it. I don't know how long the party's going to last with the housing market being as ridiculously high as it is. I
Yeah.
never in a million years could have seen that home prices would have increased this much. There wasn't a soul on the any economist that was going to ever think that homes would have increased as much as they did. And then the amount, and especially in small areas, the amount of bigger investors, like I'm talking people that, like I never, like these companies I never heard of, that, they're buying one, two, three, four houses in a neighborhood and renting them out. Increase of private equity firms buying houses, that's a new thing, an anomaly that I wasn't prepared for, but they're offsetting interest. So I don't know. We'll see what the year, if those people start dumping their houses, that's when you really need to keep your eye out. If you know some private equity firms that are buying up houses and then all of a sudden you see for sale signs in front of their homes, that's questionable. So, what do you say, Jason?
I think that like as far as like prices go, I think that we look at the average sales prices. Those are based on what the activity was in our housing market 1 to 2 months ago. So we're looking at
Mm.
the median sold price in December is really what the market was like in October and November. Totally different
Mhm.
than February right now, right? So I would
Right.
think that I would definitely not be surprised if the National Association of Realtors posts, all-time record high home prices in January and potentially in February. I was actually just looking at some stats. Home prices have been going up ever since around like September and October of last year, which is totally abnormal. Usually home prices go a little bit down or they're plateau, but they've been going up. And so now we're at like the median sold price in all the US. It's around like $358,000. The all-time record high was 363,000. So we're not really far off from all-time record highs. And so I would not be surprised if we have home prices being broken. And this is, I think, looks like Redfin. Redfin's already reporting that we're at record high home prices. So
Yeah, it says the median home sale price increased 14% year over year to $358,801. For the seventh day period ending in January 9th, the median hit 365,000, up to 16% from a year earlier at an
all-time
all-time
high.
high.
Yep.
The median asking price for newly listed homes increased 12% year over year at 344,190. Pending home sales were up 2.5% year over year. New listings of homes were down 11% from a year earlier. And before we go any further, I I understand why some people can't sell their houses. So I was just I don't know if you know Ellen Pitts. She's a real estate agent out of North Carolina, and people are in a weird predicament there. So there's people that have been living there for quite some time, and if they wanted to move, they couldn't because there isn't anything in they're priced out of their own market. They're
Hmm.
literally priced out of their own market. They have a house, they would have a down payment, but like what they would have to spend to upsell their own house is like way more than they're willing to spend.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, they've like it has increased that much. And I know that happened a lot to people in Austin, Texas.
Yeah. I was gonna
And
say, yeah,
so
for
it's
sure.
like this is the craziest time. I've never seen it where you just couldn't go get a house, like at any time, like I always say, if you don't like your neighbors, move. You can't do that now. You're gonna have to we're all gonna have to start getting neighborly if you're if you're trying to find a house. And like some people say, why do you laugh all the time? It's like either you laugh or you cry. It's so bizarre.
It is
CC
very
Moon,
bizarre.
yep, CC Moon with a $1.99 super chat says, we are in the matrix. We're just where is the red pill? I know. Every day I wake
Strange.
up Every day I wake up and I'm like, I'm really tired of living in unprecedented times. I'm like, I'm so done with living in unprecedented times. I just want a normal day with a top news story with some celebrity like kissed another celebrity, during like that's what I want the top news story to be. Like
Yeah.
I'm over it, or a kid saved a baby elephant from the middle of traffic. That's what I want the top news story to be.
That'd be
No more
awesome.
rising home prices, no more rising interest rates, normal housing market. And I know a lot of people think that us as real estate agents love this, but I
Oh
hate it
man.
personally.
No, I mean, if you represent sellers 100% of your time, then yeah, you're absolutely loving it. But I mean, most agents that I know, they have buyers and sellers, and it's extremely challenging getting accepted offers right now because we have a lack of options. And when a good option hits the market, then you get a multiple offers. And so it's a challenging market for real estate agents too, because we want more options for home buyers. And then also people aren't listing their houses too, because if they want to buy a house, they're looking at Redfin or whatever and seeing that, gosh, there's really nothing I really want to buy. There's no options for me. And so they're not listing their houses for sale, which is further causing this supply issue and keeping these record low levels we have right now.
Yeah, exactly. Crow Home says, I sold my medical practice on Friday. Congratulations, my friend.
Congrats.
And cleared out my stuff from the office today. I'm rather happy. So are you fully retired? I have to say, I'm very happy that there is almost 400 of you here in the stream watching on Super Bowl
Awesome.
Sunday. And I like that is fantastic. So, everybody, I want to say thank you for spending your time with me. Another thing I want to bring up too is as soon as we get to the questions, if anybody has any questions, make sure you put them in the chat with the word question ahead of time. But if you want to have your question asked live, because I know excuse me, there's only so many characters that you have when you type in a question here. If you have a specific question that you wanted me to answer, or Jason, or anybody on the panel, from here on out, I want you to start tagging me on either Instagram or on TikTok, and I will pull up your.
TikTok.
Yeah, I love me some
All right.
TikTok. I'm terrible at it, but I do love me some TikTok.
That's cool.
You can find my name, Kristina Smallhorn, on Instagram and on TikTok. Make yourself a little video, tag me in it, and then I will pull up your video question up here on the stream, and you will get your answered live. Answered live.
That's
I thought
cool.
about that. I thought that was a great idea. I thought about that the other day because there's only so many characters you can fill in there, and even if you filled it all in, it stops you, and then you do the next one. Then other people's comments go in between that, so it gets mismatched. So I thought that'd be a great way to check in with people, and then they could see their face and they could show their home, like somebody got their new house, they could show us their new house.
That's
The
a cool
Jennifer
idea. I
Lego.
like it. I like that
Yeah,
idea.
Jennifer. Yeah, Jennifer Lego. You could like show me a video of your new house, and we'll feature it here on the live stream. Kim L says she has a question for us. Any downsides about free lock and shop programs? I am unfamiliar with a lock and shop program. What is that, Jason Walter?
It's a locksmith company where they change your locks for free, and they keep a key and then they rob your house a week later.
You're joking, really?
Yeah, I'm joking. I have no idea what that means. I'm sorry.
Okay. What lock and shop, what does that
I
mean,
have
and
no idea.
who can do it? Okay, this is from 2019. Why don't we know this? You may have heard of the buzzwords thrown around recently. Eddie, scroll up just a little bit. Recently, for one of the mortgage industry's most popular programs, Rate Lock, Lock-in Rate Protector at Waterstone Mortgage. We call it Lock and Shop. What it
Hmm,
does well, instead of locking your interest rate after you've chosen a home, Lock and Shop allows you to determine your interest rate first and then take some time to go shop for a home.
interesting.
Huh.
There has to
First
be a
you get
severe premium associated with that,
there has to yeah,
especially the rates
something.
right now. Yeah.
I want to read the fine print of this. First of all, you'll get a premium credit platinum credit approval. Is a form of pre-approval, and it that takes it to the next level. We'll go through many of the same steps as typical pre-approval, like discussing mortgage options and pulling your credit
Mm,
report. But what's different is that our underwriting team will complete an in-depth analysis of your credit, finances, and employment information, just like they would with any typical home buyer has formally applied for the loan. Once you've been with a once you've been platinum credit approved, you'll be able to lock in your rate. You can choose from one of two lock terms, 60-day lock or 90-day lock. If you opt for the 60-day, you will have 30 days to shop. If you choose for the 90 days, you have 60 days to shop. This helps you avoid any extension fees and gives our team time to process things on the back end. But what happens when like there's a problem and you need an extension? Ugh,
and then also too, like it's a 60-day lock, but they're saying that you have 30 days to
it
shop. Does
is.
that mean you have 30 days to get an escrow on a house?
I think you have to 30 days to get under contract.
Yeah, right. And so like that
You
might
have
be challenging to do that. And there has to be a severe premium on that service, which sounds like an awesome service, but there has to be a big a fee associated with that, I would assume, given that rates are increasing greatly. I mean, if you locked in your mortgage rate 90 days or say 60 days ago, that would be like at the beginning of the year. So that'd
so
be
it'll
at
be
like
like 3.
3.25%. So that's like a
I was gonna say 3 times.
0.75% increase just this year alone. And so, yeah, that's
They're gonna get
interesting.
their money somehow. Something's not something
They
not feeling
will.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no free lunch.
There's no free
That's
lunch. Well
no free
said.
lunch. CC Moon says with a $1.99 super chat, thoughts on the Canadian US truckers protest? I have no thoughts on this. I'm not even kidding. I have no thoughts on this. It doesn't relate to the housing market. The only news I consume, and I should be more versed in this. eh, I don't even follow politics unless the politics follow real estate. I do not follow anything about the anything else unless it has to do with real estate. If it has to do with tiny homes, financing, I don't follow political policy unless it relates to I don't follow any of it unless it has to do with real estate. I'm in my own echo chamber and it's only real estate. I live, poop, and breathe real estate. How about you, Jason?
Yeah, I know very little about it. I actually read an article, I think it was yesterday about it, and they said the Canadian government, I think, are breaking up their protesters, and so they're hopefully going to be allowing the trucks to go on that bridge that goes from Canada to Detroit, I think. But I read that a lot of the automakers were getting hurt by this because they have parts that are being made in Canada being shipped down to the
Oh,
U.S., and so it's causing some delays for some automakers. But yeah,
do
as
you
far as
think
the
that will
housing market, I don't
affect
know.
lumber prices and like home building materials?
I
I
don't
haven't.
know. I have no idea. I would think that a lot of the lumber goes on trains potentially, but I don't know. Really don't know.
I thought we got our lumber a lot from like the Seattle, like that whole
But yeah, I think
Washington
a lot of it
State
comes
area.
from Canada. I don't know where in the US, but when I was talking to an uneducated economist, I think he said that, and he wasn't entirely positive, but it would make sense that it would run long if it runs along the West Coast and it goes down the West Coast from Canada down to California, but also other parts of the country as well. But get some of the lumber from Canada. But the issue with that is that the tariffs that they placed on lumber more recently.
Mhm. Derek says, Redfin shows houses under contract and pending. What's the difference?" Okay, so yeah, I know the difference. Uh, I'll go under contract and you'll do pending. How about Jason? How about that, Jason? So under
Yes.
contract means that you have you put in an offer, both parties have signed off on that offer. Now you're just under contract. Everybody's agreed to the terms, but it doesn't go pending until when, Jason? Tell them what pending means.
I don't know. We have like I think every like market has their own like terminology about pending, under contract, and everything. So
Uh-huh.
in my market, like pending home sales, when a seller accepts an offer, and most of the time, well, I wouldn't say most of the time, but some agents mark their listings pending when the buyer actually deposits their deposit at the title company. But it probably depends on your market. Is probably my guess regarding like this question. But what were you
My
going to say, Christina?
pending in my area is that you have removed contingencies, like,
Oh
the
wow,
like
really? Hmm.
yeah, like, so, like, you've given over the check, you don't have to have a house to sell in order to purchase it, and, like, you've removed all your contingencies, like, you've already done
Hmm.
your inspection, so now it's considered pending, everything's moving forward. After
Interesting.
after they like you've already negotiated the inspection period time. So the contract is moving forward. They're heading to close. It's now pending.
Huh. Yeah, we don't have that. We like when a seller accepts an offer in California, I'm in Sacramento, you just mark it as pending, or in my market, like pending or pending bring backup, like bring us a backup offer.
Mhm.
But you would have no idea whether the buyer has removed their contingencies unless you reached out to the listing agent. So yeah, we have like also like what do you call it? When a seller accepts an offer that's contingent on the buyer selling their house, there's a
Mhm.
different status change for that as well. I would say it probably
Wow.
depends on the market. Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody's got their own
Yeah. Good
version of
question.
it.
Yeah.
But, because of that, the reporting of pending sales is gonna be different in every market, so Redfin has to say, "These are the under one contract ones. This is what all the markets are saying are pending sales." Even though the differences are gonna be different in each market, they still have to report it. S
Yeah.
says, "Question, I've heard at least one economist say that people not having as many kids over time, this will affect supply dynamics and over time demand will lessen substantially. Do you agree?" Well, I do know that is a total fact that people are there. I mean, there's statistics that say people are having less children. My kids are flat out said, "Why would I wanna bring up kids? I can't afford I know, like, I can barely afford a gas right now. Why do I wanna why would I wanna have kids?" But they're young still. They haven't made up their minds. And then, even when we were younger, people were having less children. It used to be when my parents were having kids, people would have, like, 4 to 8 kids. Now it seems like everybody's had 2 for many, many years, and now they're choosing to have 1. I think, the thing is if we continue to not build enough houses, there still will be a shortage of supplies, and we have not built enough new homes in the United States for since 2007. That the amount of new builds has decreased year over year over year, and now we're seeing the repercussions of that because of the squeezing of the supply chain, and it just trickled down into how many people need homes. They say there's like I think it's like 5.1 million homes that people are still looking for an affordable home to buy, and there isn't just enough homes that are in the United States. So, what do you have to say, Jason?
No, you're spot on. I mean, the market's really like supply, or sorry, yeah, supply and demand imbalances, and we have an imbalance because supply is so low, and that's because we've been under building for so many years. And so we don't have as many new houses hitting the market, and then people aren't listing their houses in the numbers that we need in order to kind of balance out this market. And then we also have record low, or we used to. I'm so used to saying we have record low interest rates, but that's not the case anymore. But we've had such record low interest rates that's caused demand to increase greatly, and so that's why we have been having this really big imbalance. So it's gonna be, in my opinion, it's gonna be kind of fun to track what's going to happen with demand because interest rates have been spiking so much recently. We
I
will
bought my
see.
first home for $135,000. $135,000. It was a 1,500 square foot piece of junk, and I got a 7.5 interest rate, and people are like, "That's amazing. See what good credit can get you, 7.5." But I was thinking about that. The price of the house was only $135,000,
Exactly.
you know?
Right.
Like, it didn't seem so bad, even though people would now would be like, "Oh, 7.5, what's wrong with your credit?" You know? I don't
It's
think
so
people would
funny.
mind
Yeah, go ahead.
but it's true though. People wouldn't mind be paying more in interest, not that they would love it, but if they could find homes at $135,000, they'd be like, "All right, yeah." I mean, does it feel good? No, but they would pay it, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Anyway. Uh Ela Elo they know. That's an interesting screen name. Love it.
No.
It says, so should we purchase now or wait? What is your opinion, Jason?
This
Should
is like the
we
most common question I get. And
question?
so I would say, don't listen to a real estate agent about getting advice about buying or selling. I would say just,
Right.
buy or sell when it's right for you. If you're talking about, should we purchase now or wait? If you are going to be looking to buy a house right now, just have long-term time horizons. Caveat, I've been saying that ever since I've been a real estate agent. Been an agent for I think almost 9 years now. But
Mhm.
if you're going to be buying a house now or in 10 years from now, have long-term time horizons, meaning you don't plan to sell a house for at least 7 to 10 plus years, have a stable job, emergency fund. So only you can make up the decision whether or not it's in your best interest to buy a house, but just make sure you have that in place before you do decide to buy it. That's my take. What
Right,
about
and
you?
don't become house poor, like,
Yeah.
that's one of those things, like, don't have FOMO, like, "Oh, if I don't buy
Yeah.
now at these interest rates, this is terrible." Then you have this house, and you can't even afford to furnish it, Like,
Right.
don't extend yourself out. Make sure you have all those other little safety nets. You have a savings account, like you said. You have, you're putting down a down payment that you're comfortable with, that your mortgage payment itself is gonna be at a level that you can handle for a little bit of time. And don't forget that even though your mortgage rate is locked in, that doesn't mean your taxes and your insurance can't go up over time. So consider that as well when you're looking at a home. So it's only going to be the right time when it's the right time for you. That's
Yeah.
what I say. So,
Totally agree.
uh, Joe Roca says, or is it Rocha? I would say Roca. Every
Roca.
1%, every 1% increase will drag properties 10% lower. Typically, if we didn't have a shortage of supply. What do you say,
Yeah.
Jason?
I disagree. So you look at like the interest rates. Gosh, I mean, interest rates have increased 1%, but what have home prices done? So I think that
Gone
the
up.
more like appropriate term is saying For every 1% increase of mortgage rates, that causes a 10% decrease in your buying power. So if you're
Exactly.
pre-approved for $500,000 loan, if interest rates go up 1%, then just because interest rates have gone up, you're now pre-approved for 450,000. Sorry, yeah, 450,000, $50,000 less. So in my
Mhm.
opinion, that's like the better, say for every 1% increase, it's really a 10% decrease in buyers' purchasing power. So
Purchasing
that's my
power.
opinion.
Right, because, like, the home prices are still going up. Like, they're still going up. Every time I put out a video, I'm sure you do this too, every time you put it on there, they always say people in the comment section are like, "Oh, it's about to crash. There's a bubble. It's gonna pop. It's gonna collapse." And I read this every week, and I'm like, "I know you want that. I know you do, but it does not. I can't see anything that's gonna cause it at this moment."
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to increase the supply in order to cause like a decrease in prices. And I'm not like
Mhm.
saying just because I'm a real estate agent, like home prices are gonna be going up forever. I'm not stupid. And so I think
No.
that if interest rates going up greatly, that's causing an affordability issue because your mortgage payments can be higher. And if home prices continue to increase, that's going to be causing a huge affordability issue. And also, because of that decrease of buyers' purchasing power, it could, if rates increase further, it could decrease home buyer demand, which could potentially decrease home prices in the future. But there's no guarantees regarding that. So I want to like tell everyone that I think that home prices can be going up forever. We have to kind of
No
like
way.
take a step back and say, well, the Fed hasn't increased the federal funds rate yet. There's a lot that the Fed hasn't done. They're decreasing their support of the economy, but there's a lot that they're have planning on doing this year that could potentially cause rates to increase further, and that could potentially decrease home buyer demand.
I
Just
feel
want to be
so
real with
bad
everyone.
for home buyers right now because it's like if you're in that market and then you're seeing these, interest rates going all over the place and you can't even find a home and you're trying so hard to find a house, then you go to a new home builder and they're telling you, "Well, it's gonna be another 15 months before we even get a house done." Then you're like, "Oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do then? Is it like,
Yeah,
will the houses increase even more, and will I be paying even more because of the interest rates?" Can you imagine being somebody under contract and, like, like, you were let's just say your max was 3.75 in order to purchase this house, and now
hmm
it's at 4%, and you've been waiting to get your house built, or it's right under that framing stage, and you're just sweating it out because you can't lock in your rate. Man, man, it's a
big. Yeah,
mess.
it's a
It's
huge
such a
mess.
mess.
I made a video about this maybe like 2 weeks ago and saying that right now is literally the worst time to buy a brand new home where it's just a dirt lot. And this is because you lock in your price, but you don't lock in your rate normally until the house is much closer to being completed. And because of
Correct.
all the supply chain issues and mortgage rates spiking big time, that is a huge, huge, huge issue because it takes about I would say 4 months is probably on the low side, 6 to 12 months to build a house. And you're not going to be able to lock in your rate until, months down the road. And you're not going to know what your final housing payment is going to be until you're able to lock in the rate. But meanwhile, rates are spiking greatly. So, in my opinion, the absolute worst time to buy a brand new home if you're buying a dirt lot and the house is not going to be completed for months down the road.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Really? Okay.
Walton says, question, why should I pay for a chimney if it's on the house? Why should I pay for a chimney if it's on the house? Why should I pay for a chimney if it's on the house? Well, is it your house or are you purchasing the house? If you don't want a chimney, but you have a fireplace, that's going to be a hard thing for your smoke to not get out. So I don't know. I don't understand the question, but if you,
Yeah.
I did post a picture recently of somebody who did a chimney repair. If you go to my community section, they did not a very good job. It was like with flex tape. Jennifer Lego with a $3 super chat says, shout out to the on the ball mods. PS, follow Jason. I have
Thanks,
to tell you,
Jennifer.
I don't know how your mods are on your channel,
What are
but I have
mods? I don't.
the, the moderators. So in
Oh,
my chat,
I don't have moderators. Yeah.
I have moderators because in the chat it gets kind of crazy sometimes. Some people
Yeah.
have a different agenda of what they want to talk about when it isn't about
I
real
see. Yeah.
estate. Yeah,
Right.
so I have moderators that come in every week. Chrome Homestead is like, I think it's probably like 11 o'clock at night for him over there. And
Uh,
they show up every week and they help me out. Then it because I
so
can't keep
awesome.
my eye on on the chat all the time. And I have Eddie in the background that watches it. But even then, he's trying to pull up articles and stuff for us. So I thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, my moderators.
Yeah.
You're wonderful.
And thank you, Jennifer.
Jason Benson says, question, looking at prices, what is the best way to even own a home anymore? As a young professional straight out of college with a career, I would hope to own something. Lol. All right, question, what are the price? Look at prices. What's the best way to even own a home anymore? You got to say, like, to me, it's like you got to get your ducks in a row. You have to have, you have to have some liquidity. Liquidity. Did I say that right? I'm bad about
Liquidity.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, liquidity.
Cash reserves.
Cash reserves. You got to make sure you're working a good, stable job that you've had for a while. You got to diversify your assets. And when you're ready, you can put down for a house. When you're getting your first home, I always like those government backed loans, like your FHA. If you're previously in the military, VA is really good. If you live in a rural area and you can get a USDA rural development loan, those are fantastic, by the way. Like, look into different loan packages. But yes, it's still possible, but it's only possible when you have all of those things in line. And if you're a straight professional going straight from college with a career, it only takes you, well, how long does it to verify income? How many years is it that you have to have a working your job?
Isn't it 2
I think
years? I could be wrong.
it could be less than that, because if he went to school for that specific thing. So if let's just say you got a
Yeah.
degree in
Right.
accounting, and then you went straight into accounting, and I think it's just I could be wrong. Maybe it's just like a year to 14 months that you worked to college and you've proven yourself at this job. I'm not a lender. Don't quote me on that, but definitely check with them, because I was working with a girl who did that. She went from nursing school, and then she was a nurse, and she was able to get a house within a year.
Yeah. And coming out of
Doctor
college too, you probably don't have much of a credit history, I imagine too. So make sure you have excellent credit, and if you're taking steps to build that up, of course, as well.
Smartest thing you can do for your kids is help them build their credit right
Mm.
when they turn 16, 17 years old. One of the things I've always done, my mom did this for me. This is just for everybody in their little side note, is she would get store credit cards and put my name on the store credit cards. And every time I would go to the mall, she'd say, go pick this up for me at Macy's. Go pick this up for me at JCPenney, right? And
Mm.
then when I got to 18, she co-signed for a credit card, a Visa or a credit card. She said, don't you use it unless I tell you to use it. And I'm like, okay. But then, like, when I got to that, when I was on my own, moved on, she canceled all those. Like, she took my name off of all of those, but it established my credit. So when I went to go buy, Eddie and I bought our first home, I was 23. I was able to buy a house. I had over 700 credit score, and I didn't do
Awesome.
anything. I didn't do anything. I mean, I had a bank account, but that was it, So, just something to think about. Dr. Tanya says, Dr. Tanya Bro, Shropshire, Shropshire. I did it. My
Yes.
dyslexic brain did it.
I
I'm
wouldn't be
proud of
able to do
myself.
that.
Question: do you know why apartment rentals prices are so high? For example, in Birmingham, Alabama, a one-bedroom ranges from
Wow.
$1,300 to $2,900. First time listener. Okay, so rental prices are literally a direct correlation to what has happened in the housing market and home prices. Landlords and rental companies know that there isn't anything else for you to rent. So they know they got you trapped. They can raise it up. They also have to make up for some of the losses they have occurred during the pandemic, when there were people that had gotten the moratorium for rent. They didn't have to pay it. So they had people living in apartments that didn't have to pay. So they are trying to get some of that money back. What do you have to say, Jason?
In my opinion, it's all about supply and demand. And so if you're not gonna have an apartment complex that's charging $2,900 a month unless they're able to get it or get somewhere close to
Right, of
that. So
course.
I think that really, like, if you're looking at you're seeing an apartment building where the rents are super high, and chances are they're probably getting close to that, because there's no reason why they would ask for such a extremely high amount if they're renting houses or apartments for far less than that. So what you're probably seeing is just basically the correlation between supply and demand. And I was going to say too that we also have a lack of houses for sale, but we also have a lack of rental properties as well. So that's
Right, because
causing rentals to increase greatly.
a lot of landlords put their houses up for that were up for rent. They went ahead and put them up for sale. And then they're like, I'm not, that's it. So a lot of the rental homes that you would have seen in the area are no longer existence anymore because they were like, man, I'm going to make bank and move somewhere else. A lot of investors did that.
Mm.
There were some in here that moved to other states that I heard about this year. So this past year. Brenda Atkins says, question, I inherited a rental in Tempe, Arizona. Fantastic. The management company is advising not to sell it for 9 months because the value will be going up by 24%.
Not a
She
joke.
says, to be
I really
able,
need money now. Oh man. Yeah.
I really need the money now. How can
Yeah.
they predict 24%? You know
Yeah.
what, Brenda? This is what I would say. I would say to them, if you are guaranteeing that my
There you
home will
go.
increase by 24% in the next 9 months, and if it doesn't, they have to buy the house for you with an increase of 24%. That's the
Yeah.
only way. The only way I would even take that. If you
It's
need the money
crazy.
now and you want to sell it now, uh, and there has to be some guarantee that it will go up 24%. I don't even know how you could do that. Whatever. I want that
Yeah.
in writing. I want it in writing, and if it doesn't go up 24%, I want them to be able to give you the money that didn't go up by. It's gotta come out of somebody's pocket because
It's
guaranteed is
horrible for them to say that. It really is. I mean, there's no one can predict the housing market. Like there's so many things beyond our control, like how high mortgage rates are going to hit, how many
I
people
want
are
their
going to list their
crystal
houses for
ball.
sale. It's just like who makes that kind of like statement? That person should have been whoever told you that should be ashamed of themselves because no one can predict the housing market, and 24% in 9 months is extremely high. I was just looking at CoreLogic data. I think the city that had the biggest price appreciation, I think it was it Phoenix, Arizona, like 35% increase in 1 year. So 24% in 1 year is like in 9 months is like astronomically high. And so, yeah, it's anyone's guess what the housing market's going to be doing, let alone saying 24%. Like, where are they getting that number from? And so I say, if you need the money now, sell your house. And caveat disclaimer: home prices could continue to increase. So don't don't send me a hate
Right.
email if you sell your house and home prices increase. But if it was me, I need the money. I'm not going to risk waiting 9 months from now when we don't really know what home prices are going to be then. If you need the money now, I would sell. That's my
Right.
opinion.
Unless they could guarantee me
Yeah,
in
which they're
writing
not
that
going
they were
to.
gonna make up for the deficit that it didn't go when it didn't go up for
Yeah.
24%. So, like, that doesn't even
It's a
make sense.
biased opinion too, right? If you have a property management company, you sell a house, suddenly they don't have a property to manage anymore, so they don't have that monthly income coming in anymore. So it's
Now I see. I
a
was wondering what
biased
the angle
opinion,
was.
huh?
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
wondering what the angle was. That makes sense. Yeah.
could be. I don't know the property management company, but I mean, it could be a possibility there.
It just seems so bizarre,
It's
24%.
so
I
weird.
w
I've
I
never told anyone that the home prices are going to go up X amount in X number of months. It's just like beyond stupid, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
Doesn't
I
make
could
any
say,
sense.
"Oh, I have a feeling about something." I can say, like, I had a feeling at the beginning of the year, I thought that interest rates are and I still say this, that interest rates will probably end at 4.5% by the end of the year, and, who knows, it could even go higher because it's at 4% now. You just
Yeah.
showed it at the beginning of the show, so it may even go over 4.5. Hannah Chan says, "Do you think land in rural areas will go up due to the housing market increase in the future?" Do you wanna, touch this and I'll hit my little.
This is your area of expertise. I have never sold
Right.
land, don't really know much about it, and especially in areas like that. So yeah, I have no idea. I'm the last person to talk to about that. So I would probably rely on you for your answer on this one.
Okay, so land in my area, which I live in a rural area, doesn't typically go up exponentially. It is a very slow moving asset. And the cost of land and how much it will cost per acre, it depends on the type of improvements you have to that piece of land or how close improvements are to be able to be run to that piece of land. I don't see it going up increasing like home prices. It never does. Land never increases at the same level as a piece of land that actually has a structure or home on it. Um, I can't see it like going up exponentially. You're not going to see increases in cost like you did with houses, even especially in rural areas. But I love me a rural piece of land because nothing ever stays rural for long. It's
That's
just
true.
how long are you willing to hold on to it?
There's also no guarantees the housing market's going to continue to increase either. It's
No,
tough to say.
no, like even with all these increases in the housing market, land has like it's ticked up a little bit. It hasn't gone up, 10, 20, $30,000 like houses did,
Yeah.
within a few months. Land probably went up maybe $1,000, maybe. It isn't anything astronomical, not
Yeah.
anything really, really high,
I
unless that
agree.
area has all of a sudden popped up out of nowhere that it's like a big tech corporation that's moving in or something. Then the land prices will tend to go up pretty quickly because there is proposed infrastructure with development of jobs in that area. So then land will go up, but typically no.
Yep. Agree.
Uh, Somebody said, oh, Charles said, real quick, Eddie, I'm going to pull this up really cool. Kristina, the answer to Hannah, a lot of big banks. Answer to Hannah, a lot of banks won't make loans for land. That depends. Local lenders will, and especially when you have the project and you bring in the project of what you're planning on doing with your land. Especially big banks won't do loans for land. Yes, right. Local banks. When it comes to land, go to your local credit unions or your local banks. That's what you do for rural land. You get a better deal anyways, and you know the person that's sitting across the counter that you're borrowing money from too. Tanisha says, do you recommend looking into manufactured homes at this time, considering higher stick built home prices? But then again, you may have to worry about the land. Okay. So there's two different ways you can look at this. If you're buying a manufactured home that is going into a manufactured home park, you're renting the land underneath it. In that case, you're going to be getting a chattel loan, which is going to be at a higher interest rate. If you are going to the lot and the manufactured home says, yes, look, you can look at all of these. These are the ones you like. Pick the one that you like, and you pick it out and you're like, well, I like to have these cabinets and I'd like to have these doors and these are the type of windows and I want to upgrade my insulation. They say, great. That's going to be about 16 to 20 months before we can ever have it delivered. That's not going to work out for you either. The only way you could really make this work and to get your house the way you want it right now is if they have it on the lot and you have a piece of land. The land is already ready and prepared for a manufactured home. You just pick out the one that they have there and then you have them deliver it and you can have that all done within, 3 months. That's because I know I already they've stated if you go to several websites, some of them say 15 to 18 months before your manufactured home that you've designed for yourself can be even delivered. That's true. Modular homes too. Modular homes right now, price per square foot in most modular home companies is more than traditional stick built construction. Everything is wackadoodle now. Everything, everything I ever knew about manufactured homes, modular homes, the story has changed. Everything that you thought you knew has changed when it comes to pricing and delivery and the availability. I hope that
You're
answers
the
your
expert.
question. Yeah, Jason doesn't know anything about that, so I didn't even refer to him. Jason got to
I've
drink his
never
water
sold
right
it.
at that
Yeah, we
point.
don't have a whole lot of manufactured houses in my area, and I've never sold one. So I'm the last person to talk to you about that.
I
That's for
have
sure.
sold my fair share, that is for sure.
Oh
They're
yeah.
great. Oh my gosh, you should see the tubs. If you ever go into a manufactured home, just go make a beeline for the master bedroom and look at the tub. You could fit a family of 6 in those things. I don't know why that is a
Really?
thing. Oh my gosh. They are the most unusually large tubs you've ever seen in your life. And
Hmm.
it's just exclusive to manufactured homes. Whenever I go one and open one up, I'm like, can we go to the master bedroom first? Because I want to see the tub.
What?
See how big it
Really?
is. They're
Oh,
huge.
that's
They're
crazy.
huge.
I never heard such a thing.
I swear it's a real thing. Anybody that has a manufactured home, I want you to tell me how big is your tub. Tell me how big your tub is. How many kids can you fit in there?
That's hilarious.
Suzanne says, "Is there any links to check into just to swap homes? I'm trying to move back to where my kids are, and I'm as as I age at 68, or just buy land and an RV on it." So even if you bought land to put, an RV on it, you're gonna have to get approval for that too, because some pieces of land, they'll say you can't use it as a camping site, and they have restrictions for how long you can leave an RV on a piece of land. That's true of here and in many other areas. In more rural areas, you're not gonna have that much of an issue, but that's true of here. What do you say there, Jason?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with any service that allows you just to swap houses. I
Swap.
mean, I never
Mm-mm.
heard that term before, but like a regular like single family house, if you're looking to move back to where your kids are, I would just look to see what home prices are there, to figure out whether there's any options for you. That'd probably be a better bet. If you have a house to sell too, of course, you have to kind of coordinate that and such. But I'm not familiar with any sites where you can just swap houses. And I would think that'd be very challenging to find a person who wants to move into your house and you're okay with their house as well. It'd be really
Well, that's
hard
what
to
I'm
have
thinking.
yeah, it'd be really hard to have that in line,
That I
especially
yeah,
given low inventory too.
yeah, I was just thinking that, like, how would you arrange that? Like, I live in Ohio, and then they wanna buy, or they live in Ohio, and I live in Louisiana, and they wanna move into my house, and then I have to like their house in order to wanna move into it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Some people
I
have
would think
bad
that'd be a
taste.
failing business if you had that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, if you just held the mortgage and maybe you were like almost like an Airbnb, but for swapping houses, or maybe like a timeshare type thing? I don't know. It'd be interesting.
I've never heard
Anyways,
of it. Yeah.
Andrea P says, "Question, is your buyer demand still the same or decreasing?" How about you, Jason? I will give you my 2 cents in just a minute.
Yeah, it's still increasing. So far, the indicators show that the buyers are kind of okay with like the interest rates so far, but interest rates have increased greatly in just a week, and so I'm really going to be looking at more like leading indicators of a housing market in the next week or two, because things could change pretty drastically when rates increase drastically. But right now we have, I would say, across the nation and also in my market too, near record low inventory, houses selling very, very quickly. So it doesn't seem like really much has changed so far. And you see it on a national level as well, where Redfin's reporting record low inventory and also record high home prices. So right now we're seeing not too much of a difference, but stay tuned. We'll see.
I still have people that are looking to buy a house, but they'll say, "Well, I'm just gonna take a break." There are those people that are they still wanna buy a house, they haven't found anything in there. They have they're on this automatic email listing thing. So they'll
Yeah.
ask me to check into it. By the time I check into it, it's either under contract, or, it's, they'll say, "Oh, well, we're waiting on contracts," or, "There's supposed to be 5 coming in today." They haven't even had a chance to go look at it. So the interest is still there, but I wouldn't say that they're like literally like jumping the gun kind of thing. So like at one point they were like, it was almost like a race, it's like that eBay auction type thing. A lot of them are just sitting back to see if, they can make it to the house. They're not as freaked out that they're missing the houses out. That I think the elevation of panic is gone. But there's definitely still just as much interest as always. Tanya Cool, who's cooler than the other side of the pillow. She co-hosts with me a lot. She is
Oh yeah.
back in she's back in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She said, "Christina, miss yous. Hope Eddie and Marcel are keeping you company. See you next week." Yeah, she took over for me last weekend. Tanya did.
Oh yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
I
think
was
I tuned
in.
into your live stream like, "Oh, Tanya is there." And so yeah, tell us
Yeah,
about that.
she did a nice, job for me. She filled in for me while I was
That's awesome.
in, South Carolina or North Carolina. I keep saying South Carolina. It's North Carolina. Dr. Tanya Brew says, yes, you pronounced it
Yeah.
right. Shropshire, Shropshire.
You got
Do
it
you,
right
have
the
you ever
first
had?
time.
I know. Karen Gee says, question, is there as such a thing as a rent control in the USA? Because Canada has rent controls to keep housing somewhat affordable. In big cities, we have rent control. We also have something called Section 8 housing, which gives a renter a voucher, and the government covers X amount of dollars, and the person that's renting will cover the rest of it with the income that they make. But like bigger cities like New York City, does LA have rent control housing there?
Yeah, they do. San Francisco, it does as well.
Yeah, San Francisco, Chicago, Houston, Atlanta. There are areas that have rent control, but it's not as common as it is in like British Columbia, Canada, and places around the UK. It's not as common at all. Long story short, says $2 super chat. What do you call a
Mhm.
drastic increase? What do you call a drastic increase, my friend Jason? What would you say is a drastic rate
So I get
increase?
flack on the channel all the time because I always talk about rates skyrocketing, and they're like, "Well, rates are still at 3 or 4%." And like, I bought a house in the 1980s for 15%, so they're still super low. And, in
Mhm.
my opinion, like most people are used to mortgage rates at around 3%, and rates have increased over 1% since August. So in my
That's a
opinion, that's a
lot.
big increase. We go from like
Mhm.
2.8% to now over 4%. That's a giant increase
In
in
that
mortgage
period of
rates
time.
in a short period of time, right? If
Mhm.
you look back at 2018, the very beginning of 2018, rates were about 4%. It took 1 year to increase to 1% to 5% at in November and December of 2018. So it took almost
Mhm.
a year. Now we have an increase in just 6 months, and that same a percentage increase. And so, yeah, that's in my opinion, that's what I would call a drastic rate increases. We're living it right now.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, if you got a 1% increase in less than 6 months, that is a drastic increase. And I still say we're gonna end the year at another 0.5% up. I mean, I could be wrong, and I will be the first one to admit it because I'm me, whenever I'm wrong, I'm like, "I'm wrong." But I still say we're gonna end the year at 4.5. That's what I think.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh, who
Do you think
knows?
higher?
It's gonna be
What
it's
you're
gonna be
guessing, if you're guessing, if you just throw out a guess, if you were guessing with how you feel like everything's going, how high do you think it could possibly end?
how high could it get? I mean, we could get up to potentially 5%. I really don't know. I mean, it really just depends on so many different factors. We're talking about the Fed increasing the Fed funds rate 3 times. Maybe they'll do more than that. And
Mhm.
so it just there's so many factors involved here. It's really hard to kind of pinpoint a number, but it's
I
going to be in
just
the
like throwing
fours.
a number out there. I like guessing,
All
like,
right.
I'm like, "This is what I think." My feeling is we're gonna end up at 4.5% by the end of the year. That's my feeling. I said that at the beginning of this year. So that was my feeling. I still
Well,
feel
I
that
talked
way.
to my buddy who's been a loan officer. He owns his own company. He's been a loan officer for
Mhm.
like 20 years. And he
Mhm.
told me, I actually was talking to him yesterday about what is going on with mortgage rates. He told me that he believes that we're going to be around 4.5% at year end. But yeah, we will have to see.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Yeah.
D. Marie, love that name, D. Marie. It sounds like something like somebody should be singing that name, you know?
The Marie.
D. Marie,
The Marie.
like some jazzy tune. All right.
I
D
like it.
says, my tenant wants to make a cash offer to purchase my property. My property manager realtor wants 6% to write this contract. I think
Whoa.
4% was just, holy cow. Let me just say this.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
6%.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, first of all all percentage rates for commissions is negotiable, right?
Yeah.
I realize that they're your property manager, and if they're saying 6%, do you have to is it in your contract that you have to use them as a real estate agent in order to sell your property? I would look at the fine print on that because at this point you've secured the buyer, right? All you have to do is make sure that they're approved for the loan, and then this person's doing the paperwork for you. At any moment, at any time, you should be able to,
Negotiate.
4% is more than generous. You're correct, D. Marie.
Yeah.
4% is generous, yes, 'cause you've already secured the buyer. They don't even have to put any advertising into it. I agree.
6% would be really high. But my question for you, Marie, is
Ridiculous.
that how do you know that the purchase price or the offer amount that they're giving you, how do you know that's what you could get on the open market? That's kind of like the only question you'd only be able to answer. And if you were to, um, have it on the open market, it depends on the market where you are, but probably in the range of 5 to 6% is more normal for what you pay your total broker fee. And so
Right.
if you're only saving, like there'd be no reason why you would have your real estate agent represent you and give them 6% because you might as well just put on the open market and see if you can get more than that. And,
Right.
at 4%, you're still saving some money potentially, maybe 1% to 2%. So you're not really saving a whole lot of money. And so I would kind of like, I would probably, take a hard look at the offer amount and see if that's going to be in line with what you think you could sell the house for. And that'd be my advice.
Yeah, because that 6% is used for marketing.
Yeah,
That
it's
6%
there's
is to help to secure a qualified buyer. All the advertising, marketing dollars that go into advertising that listing with pictures, videographers, all that kind of stuff. And if
unless it's
they're
like
not
a,
doing
a
that,
$30,000 house or something like that. I don't know,
right,
but
right,
right. I mean, we're talking like a $500,000 house. I mean, I would love to like
that's
write
astronomically.
to like handle a transaction for 6%, which is like beyond ridiculous.
That is
Depends on the
not.
market, depends on the home price, all that stuff.
Christina says no. Absolutely, I would
6% is crazy.
no.
Yeah.
That is they are asking for a lot. Someone wants a shiny new car, I guess. Joanna Muniz says, "I'm putting my mobile home for sale. Congratulations." Agent is asking for 8% because he said he is going to split it with the other agent to promote it. We signed the contract. Can we still negotiate the commission after signing? No, because you already did it. But I don't know how what your like what the commissions are in your area. Like anytime whenever you list your house, you can negotiate your commissions with the buyer agent or the listing agent. You can negotiate those prices, and that's put on the listing agreement before it goes on the market. If you're not satisfied with your listing agreement and you feel like your agent is not doing a good enough job for you at any time, you can find yourself another brokerage to list your home. You're not stuck in that situation. You shouldn't feel obligated if you feel like you were manipulated in a price that you weren't willing to pay. So,
Yeah.
what
Or
do
if
you
you're not
say?
just comfortable with your real estate agent, you can cancel the contract.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yep. Susan, hi Christina, love your show. Thank you. It's because Jason's on here, by the way. I need
Nah.
I need some real estate referrals for a couple areas. Can we speak? Oh, I have the perfect answer for you. So you go to my website, KristinaSmallhorn.com. That's Christina with a K. And then it says like up at the top, you can say I contact about. You scroll at the bottom, it says let's connect or book a time here. You hit book a time or book here. Oh, Eddie's even circling it. He's such a good dude. You hit book here, and then you can fill out the referral form. Make sure you fill out all those little sections there. The more information I have, the better. So it has like an email section. It has a section where you kind of basically say exactly what you're looking for. Has your phone number there. If you have your phone number there, guess what? I call you. I personally
Ooh.
call you. We have a little talk on the phone. So yeah, just make sure you fill that all out, and I will gladly help you out. Christian Smith says, and that was so confusing because it almost looked like Christina, didn't it? Just for a brief second, did it? It's
Yeah, it
Christian.
did.
Christian Smith says, what people never think about is how much they will pay over a life of the loan. Correct. 300K loan for 4% will add 215,000 in interest over on the 38 years. Yes. And the other thing is you brought up another point. I don't know if you've seen this, Jason. Have you seen people talking about 40 and 50-year loans? Have
I
you
get
heard of people?
comments pretty frequently about, oh, they're going to be releasing a 40-year fixed rate mortgage. And yeah, I do.
They've done that. You know that that's been tried before, the 40-year and 50-year loan, right?
In the
You
US
know,
for a purchase.
there was a couple times since I've been a real estate agent that the package was offered, right?
Hmm.
And I don't know if it was the specific lender or whatever. It was offered. But the thing is that it really doesn't reduce the payment more. All it does is make the bank more money. like your payment might be off, like maybe let's just say $30, but you're paying an additional 10 years. You know, is it worth not paying that extra $30 to pay the bank for an additional 10 years? Um, yeah, most people do not think about that increase. They don't. And that's why, but some people do, and that's why they run out when they hear that it's increased a little bit more because they're like, shoot, I don't, that's going to add another freaking 115 or $215,000 to the end of my loan. I don't want to pay the bank that.
Yeah. What I would add to his question though is that you also can look at like what's the alternative, right? If you rent a house for 30 years, that's
Mhm.
just money wasted. It's not money, it's not tax deductible. And then also your rent can go up as well. So it's you kind of have to compare apples regarding that.
Mhm. Yep. I have a bid on 4 houses and lost all 4. I bid on all, oh my god, this is so common. I suspect it's, because I have refused to waive the inspection. How are you 2 running, into that in your business? I have an answer for this, and I'm interested to hear what you have to say about this.
Sorry, go
So when
ahead
it
and
comes,
answer. Yeah, I was looking at the private chat. Go ahead.
yeah, no, no, so whatever, when it comes into the inspection period, what I'll say in my contract, what I write on there is, uh, if the
Hmm.
inspection repairs come out to be more than X amount of dollars, then, like if it's more than that, we're walking away. So that I'm like, what's your cap? What are you willing to accept? If the repairs are more than a $5,000, are you gonna be able to walk away? Or if the inspection and repairs are more than 10,000, 20,000? So most of them will like it's been about $15,000. If the repairs are more than $15,000, they get a full refund of their deposit, and they're free to walk away from the deal. That's the only way I've been able to get around it, and sellers are fine with that.
Hmm.
What do you
How,
do?
how are you? So in my market, that you can get a wide range of home inspections, right? So the only one, like the main one, like the whole home inspection in my
Mhm.
market, home inspectors, they don't give the prices of how much it would cost to repair it. And so the only thing we get inspection and estimate for like a sewer inspection, chimney inspection, a pest inspection to see if there's any dry rot. And so how do you quantify the items that are found in the home inspection as far as like a repair estimate when you're writing an
So that's
offer like
So you have the regular inspection done. So if they say the roof is bad, the air conditioning's bad, then
you
you
get
have
bids?
those other vendors come out, give those estimates and bids to how much it
Mm,
would cost. Then you turn that all in and you say,
mm,
hey, look, love you guys, but your roof is going to cost us $20,000. Are you either A, going to
mhm,
be willing to fix it, or B, or we're going to walk away? Like
mm.
you have a choice. And so they make a choice.
Interesting. Yeah, makes sense. So the question was like, if I run into that, I think that was the question too. It's like I
Mhm.
have run into that, especially last spring, which is insane. I had a cash buyer up to $1.2 million, all cash. And it took us like
Mhm.
5 offers to get an accepted offer because there were so many people using loans that were just waiving all their contingencies
Yep.
whatsoever. Um, but in my marketplace, we're starting to see last year, especially, we started to see more and more home sellers getting a lot of the inspections done ahead of time. So in my marketplace, which again is in Sacramento, you generally write more or less a blind offer. There's no inspections done whatsoever, and you get all your inspections done when you're in escrow. And so in that scenario where you're not given any inspections whatsoever, then in my opinion, it's super risky writing an offer with no contingencies whatsoever because you never know what the home inspection is going to find or home inspectors are going to find, unless it's a house that's like 5 years old or something like that. But yeah, in my market, we did see that quite a bit, but it was more of like the houses that were the sellers were giving more like a disclosure packet, like you see in San Francisco, for example.
I've seen a lot of people, recently that purchased, like, new homes in the last, like, 6 months, and they didn't have any inspection done at that time, and now
Mm,
they're having all sorts of weird stuff happen. I just saw a woman on the old, Google Webs. She had, purchased a house, and, like, all her pipes busted, and they were like, "Well, did you wrap your pipes?" Well, this was inside the house. There was no insulation in this one part of the wall.
what?
Yeah, and, like, all of this, she'd only lived there for, like, 3.5, 4 months, and, everything, it's now stripped down because the pipes
Wow.
burst, so everything and she was out of town, and her smoke alarms were going off. She had one of those Vivid, things that said her smoke alarms were going off, and then
Mhm.
when she walked in, her whole everything, off all the water, the pipes that were up in the attic busted, like, and then
Wow.
went through all the way
Oh,
through, so
horrible,
she stripped down to the studs.
horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're buying a new home, then I'd say definitely get home inspections too. I mean, I've had helped a guy buy a house. Maybe it was about 2 years ago, and we did a sewer line inspection. You would not think to do a sewer line inspection for a brand new house, but thankfully we
Mhm.
did because they found out that the didn't turn on the sewer to the house. Like there was like some sort of valve they didn't turn on, and so if my buyer would have moved into the house and ran all the toilets and then took a shower or whatever, it would have backed up into the house. And so we found that out with it thanks to a $150 inspection. And I've also
Mhm.
helped people buy houses that are brand new where we find more issues with a brand new house than a house that's like 50 years old. And so it really
Oh, I've
depends.
seen
So
that.
yeah, it's
Like,
it's kind of a
the
joke.
punch list is, like, this long.
All
It's
right.
ridiculous.
It is
Modern
ridiculous.
Art has a question for us. It says, "What are the average house payments per month you see in your areas with taxes included?" Love the show. Average house prices? That depends on the price of the house. Like,
Yeah.
there's I wouldn't s I don't think there's an average because it also would depend on how much they put down.
We could talk about
I would
taxes probably though.
Yeah.
The payment totally varies by the home price, yeah. In my area,
Mhm.
the average property taxes is like 1.25% on average for like an
Mhm.
older house. Newer houses have much higher tax rates because of what's called Mello-Roos, but,
Mhm.
it's kinda a different conversation, but yeah, property taxes in California more or less around 1.25%, and then our tax basis or our tax assessed value of the house is also capped as well per month or sorry, per year. Whereas
Mhm.
places I think like Austin, Texas, or Texas, where property taxes increase up to market value, and so property taxes can increase greatly year to year. But in California, you're really protected regarding that. So it really depends on the area.
Do you have Homestead there?
Homestead,
Oh, that's
I
made up.
think so.
So we have a home what they call the Homestead Tax Exemption,
Oh, I see.
and
You're
the
saying, yeah,
first yeah, so the
yes, we
first
do have that.
75 yeah, first $75,000 off of your house. So if your house was
How much?
75,000.
75,000.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I think ours is. We do have a homestead exemption, but I think it's like $7,500 or something super like super small, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, so the first $75,000 that your house is valued at, you don't have to be taxed on it, and everything
Mm,
after that, your property tax is assessed on it, but that's
yeah,
only for the house that you're currently living in, and any house that you have after that, you pay. You pay.
yeah.
You pay, and
You have
in
to live in
some
the house, right?
area yeah, and then in some areas, like, if you check with your state, and if you're, like, a certain age, they don't make you pay property tax. Like, some states are like, "Oh, you're over, 70 years old, you don't have to pay property tax anymore." And my grandmother hadn't paid property tax, and my parents were sweating, but she was over 80. She's like, "I don't have to pay property tax anymore." She's like, "After I turned 75, I didn't have to pay for property tax." And my mom's like, "That's not how this works." And they were like, "Oh, no, that's right." She was like, "Okay." My mom was like, "I never heard that before." So, yeah, just check in your area because you might have some tax exemptions you had no idea about when it comes to property tax. That is also true of veterans too. So if you're a veteran, check to see if there's a property tax exemption for you for being, your status as a veteran.
Well said. I just
Ta-da!
Googled it too. It's 75,000 for in California. So I was
Yep.
way off by 10, a factor of
Yeah.
10.
Yeah, well, Kristina was right for a change.
Yeah.
Right, let's see here. You had another question for us, Eduardo? Here, Eddie says, "No more questions," he said that there's no more questions in the chat, but you know what today is, right? It's Super Bowl Sunday, and we do have a couple super chats
Woohoo.
that come in. Ryan Yoder, thank you so much for the $1.99 super chat.
Woohoo.
And then Christian Smith said, "Everyone in the chat that thinks their property tax is high, here in DFW, Texas, it is
Wow.
2.6%
Wow.
for
That's
our
high.
property tax." That's outrageous. And I know Austin is, I think it's even higher than that. If
Wow.
anybody has any questions after this stream is over, go to either TikTok or Instagram. Film yourself with a question. Tag me in it. And I will literally put your glowing little face up on the screen and you can ask your question. That way you're
That's
not
cool.
limited to what you want to ask. And then you get to see yourself on screen and we get to see your property if you want to show us anything cool. And if you have anything, like I know that I like to post things. If you have anything in your house that you find that is wicked crazy and fun that you want to share with the rest of us, like if it's a cool shower or if it's like some crazy repair that the previous sellers had done to the house that you weren't aware of until after you moved in, share those with me as well. Tag me in
I'm
those
gonna
on
send you
Instagram.
one, actually. I have a good
Yeah,
one for
send me
you.
one.
And
Oh,
then
good. Because
we're renting a house because we're remodeling our current house, and then the
uh-huh.
sewer line clean out is coming out of the baseboard in the middle of the hallway inside the house.
Oh
It's pretty
no.
awesome. I'm gonna text it to
Oh,
you.
no.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, please do. Please do. Everybody, I hope you have a fantastic Super Bowl Sunday. Jason, how can people find you? Because I know that you're on the old Google webs. You're all over YouTube.
I'm on the
People know who you are.
interwebs. Yeah,
You're
I'm on the
all over
interwebs.
the webs. You're on the information superhighway. Eddie, can you pull up his channel really quick? There he is. Look at him. Look, he's just such a nice looking guy. Look at him.
Oh man, you're too
Real estate
kind.
and personal finance. He puts out some fantastic information. Everybody loves Jason.
Thank you very much. You're too
You're
kind. But yeah,
oh,
people
well,
can
I
follow me
love
on
having
YouTube.
yeah,
That's
you can follow him on
pretty
the
much
old YouTube. Are you
on
anywhere
YouTube.
else?
I post my videos on Newsbreak, but the same videos I have on YouTube, and I have Instagram too, but I don't really post a whole lot on there. But it's Sacramento Realtor if you want to check me out on Instagram. My wife and I are
Mhm.
going through a remodel. Demo just started yesterday, so I'm gonna be sharing a lot of stories about our experience with remodeling a house, which is a total joke so far. um, it took us 6 months to get permits approved, where pre-COVID it should have taken 2 weeks. So it's been
I
a learning
know.
experience. But
I
yeah, I
know.
mean, follow me on YouTube is probably the best way to find me. I post about 3 videos per week about the housing market in US and
3
also in
videos a
California.
week. You're a machine. I get 1 video a week, but at least I get
Yeah.
to spend time on the live streams with everybody. Do you live
Yeah,
stream?
exactly. I used to live stream and I haven't done it in a while. Like we had the holidays and I just haven't gone back to it. And no one's ever commented like, "Hey, you should do live streams again." And so I just haven't done them.
I
I
enjoy
probably
them so
should.
much. I
I
love
really
the
do.
live
That's why I
streams.
love doing this, because I do actually do love these live streams. It's just hard for me to set like one time per week that I'm available. My wife is due in 3 weeks with our second kid. So
Oh, I didn't know
yeah,
you were making a new child.
yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't
I
know
haven't
she
even
was
told
cooking.
anyone on my channel about it either. But yeah, so
When
it's
is she due?
what's that?
When
When
is
she
she due?
due?
Uh-huh.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
She's due in
Oh my
3 weeks.
gosh. Do we
Yeah.
know what kind of human were you having? Are you having a boy or a
We're
girl?
having a baby boy. We have a 19-month-old girl, and so we're having a boy.
Are
So
we
we're really
is it
excited.
Jason Walter Jr.?
Oh yeah, Jason Jr. Of course. Yeah. No,
Jason Jr. Well, there you go.
we still haven't decided a name yet.
Jerry Prusa said real quick, I had to step away. Did I miss Marcel? You did not miss Marcel, but Jason, I have something to tell you. Uh, oh, Jerry, I'm sorry. Jerry Prusa
Thanks,
said,
Jennifer.
yeah,
Jennifer says I'll be your mod. I don't even know how to get in contact with Jennifer
I'll,
or how
I'll
to do
help.
moderation. I'll have to talk to you,
I'll help
Kristina,
you.
about it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'll help you. But I do want to tell you that the family's trying to talk me into a second cat. That will be our next edition. It won't be as
Ah,
nearly as exciting as a Jason Jr., but we are talking about another cat that happens to look exactly like Marcel. So
that's awesome. That's cool. Is a cat right next to you right now?
no, he
No.
he
Okay.
isn't around.
Last
Sometimes he
time he
comes
was
in.
like, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Sometimes he comes in here and he'll just like be right in here. He wants to be part
That's
of
what
it.
happened last time. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so
And,
funny.
and before you go, one more thing. Don't forget Valentine's Day. You have some time to go get in there like Eddie did. And he got me his
Yeah.
a bobblehead of him. This is what Eddie looks like. If
You should sell
if
those on your channel.
I
Bobblehead
have
of Eddie with a heart.
well, no one knew what Eddie looked like for the longest time. And so I have, oh, I don't have them up here. I have these stickers where it was just the back of Eddie's head. So you still didn't know. I'm like, oh, you get a sticker of Eddie. And when they got it in the mail, it was just the back of Eddie's head.
That's too funny. That's hilarious.
We're not normal. We're not normal. All right, question before we go. One more question. Mike Denver gets in with the last minute. Says, question: what tips do you have for recent college grads to get into their first home? Mike, I'm going to let you know right now. We actually answered this question a little bit earlier. I'll give you one tip, and Jason, you give him a tip. I'd say go ahead and start saving your money and get your credit score together. Jason, what's your tip?
That's two things. You stole mine. I was going to say credit score.
Yeah.
Credit score and saving your money. I mean, that's you have to at least about 3.5%, unless you're a veteran, to save for a down payment. So definitely start saving.
Or an RD loan.
Yeah. Okay. And then also you make sure you're getting at least around the 720-ish credit score, 740. You get the best interest rate. So increase your credit score, increase your cash reserve to pay for buy a new house.
Yeah, Eddie, let's run some music so we can wave everybody goodbye for the holidays.
Thank you so much for having me on, Christine. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, Jason, I always want you
joining.
to come on. I always want you to come on. Can you hear the music? You're going to dance your way out? We have music now.
Happy Super Bowl Sunday, everyone.
Happy Super Bowl Sunday. I hope your sports team wins. I have no idea who it is. Oh, I heard Bears. It was a ram and a bengal. A ram and a bengal. So I think a tiger would beat out a ram, but I know nothing about football, so don't listen to me. Are we going to dance? Eddie, you can close it down at any time because nobody wants to see us dance. It's terrible. Everybody dancing?
Oh, man.